Alright, today I'm reviewing the Ibanez RG655 GK Prestige. This is my first Prestige guitar. I got it back in 2013. I've reviewed this guitar last year, but since then I have some updated thoughts on it. I've gotten a little bit better at setting up guitars. My presets sound a little bit better, I hope. And I'd like to give an update on why I haven't played this guitar as much as I thought I would since then. As you can see, it is heavily modified. I've ripped out the stock pickups a long time ago. I put in these bare knuckle pickup aftermaths, and it does have a 3-way switch. So this review isn't talking about the stock DiMarzios it came with. But this should be helpful if you're shopping for one of these on the used market, because a lot of used guitars do have modifications, maybe even like this. And by the way, I'm still not sponsored by Ibanez or bare knuckle pickups or anyone or any of the brands shown in this video. Let's talk about how this guitar sounds. I'm going to demo how it sounds with a clean preset of mine, a lead preset, and a rhythm preset. The clean preset will be the same one I always use. I made it with the Neural DSP Petrucci X. It's my favorite clean, and so I've called it favorite clean. The rhythm preset and then the lead 2, I'm using Nolly X from Neural DSP. And so these presets are new. I've made them more recently. The rhythm preset I used in my Dr. Wiley's Castle cover, which you can also stream on Spotify. Shameless plug. And the lead preset I made just without any purpose, so I've creatively called it High Z Lead. So let's hear how this sounds. Alright, just what you'd expect from a set of bare knuckle pickups. They sound pretty good. Lately in my recordings, I've been using a bunch of Fishman-Fluence Moderns, the typical DiMarzio Tone Zone Air Norton, and the Solar Duncans, whatever stock pickups come in the Solars. I used to do a lot of pickup swaps with guitars, and this guitar is from that kind of era. Overall, I'd say these are pretty amazing, modern-sounding passive pickups. That being said, my preferred playing and writing style isn't really the cutting-edge modern stuff. I did attempt some modern kind of style with my song Jupiter Workshop I did in January, but in general, my writing is just a mix of 2000s metalcore, hard rock, whatever weird thing comes into my head. Throw in some Bach and video game melody influences, and there you have it. But that means I usually don't need the super boutique passive modern sounding pickups. They're appreciated and they sound great, but usually I can get to where I'm trying to go just by adjusting my presets and my plugins. Of course, I'm no pro audio engineer, I'm just some guy on the internet. So I have been learning as I go, and I've been trying to make every song sound better than the last. Have I succeeded? There's been some hits and misses. They do say when you're recording the song, when you're making it, you are your own worst critic. But the point I'm trying to make is having super high quality pickups seems pretty luxurious. They do sound good, and if they're getting you towards that sound you're trying to get, that's a good thing. But in my case, I've found some success changing my technique a little bit. Maybe where I'm palm muting on the bridge, maybe my pick attack angle. I find those things have made me been able to use stock pickups just fine. But what do you think? Is it worth putting in some expensive aftermarket pickups? Would you rather try everything you can with your technique, adjusting your amp and plugin settings? Also, do you think this guitar sounded good? Be sure to comment down below. Alright, let's talk about playing feel. And this feels pretty good, almost pretty great. As I've touched on before, this neck profile feels a bit thinner. It feels different than more recent Prestige models. And it feels a little different than the RG550 Genesis that's made in Japan but not technically a Prestige. And I've been having honestly more fun playing those Genesis guitars. Whenever I want to play a basswood guitar with a pickguard, like a Shreddy RG, I pick up one of those. They're super fun to play. The neck profile is comfortable. You can see it has the pickguard and all that. They're well built. I find it's been a little bit more stable than the RG655. And yes, the color scheme being so loud and just out there, it does add to the fun. To be fair, I've taken the middle single coil out, so this is not counting the times where I've needed either the position 4 or the position 2 sound. I did put a 3-way switch in this after all. But in the case of this guitar here, the 655, of course it does have the all-access neck joint, so that does help a lot when you're playing up here. The tilt joint, or whatever it's called, on the 550, it is pretty good, it's usable, but the all-access neck joint for me just gives it that extra advantage. So if I was going to play a song or a set that needed upper fret access a lot, I would pick up this guitar over the RG550. As I've mentioned before, I have grown to like the Rosewood fretboard a lot, and I do prefer the stainless steel frets, but having the typical nickel silver isn't the end of the world for me. It's just fine. And then let's touch on the neck profile just a little bit more. It is thinner, and in the past it would tire out my hand faster, but as my technique has gotten better, it's not a problem anymore for me. There are some days though where it's not technique that would make me want to pick a guitar with a thicker neck, either slightly thicker neck or much more thicker neck. Some days my hands are tired from work, inflammation, getting old, things like that. Some days I need just something more all-purpose all around, and I'll reach for a solar. Other days I'll pick up, say, the RG5121. It has the Fishmans, the actives in it. If I want passives, I'll pick up the RG5320 or the 550 Genesis. And when I want to do some shred work, not saying I'm a virtuoso or anything, but if I want to do some faster stuff and I'm recording, for example, I'll pick up the J Custom. So it comes down to when I want to play a thin neck guitar that I'm not afraid to beat on, because this does have some dings on it, some scratches. And so for that, that's a lot of practice time. I do use this guitar for practice a bunch. If I was playing live too, I haven't played live in a while. I'm doing the online music thing. But if I was playing live again, I would also consider this. Again, because I'm not afraid to beat up this guitar. But that's why it hasn't been seen so much. That's another reason. Because I'm not recording my practice sessions. So some overall thoughts on this guitar. I do love it. It is my first Ibanez Prestige. I am liking the look of it more and more as time goes on. Back in the day, I wanted either the clean fretboard with no inlays, the all black fretboard, the ebony, or some kind of crazy inlay scheme or something, Tree of Life, etc. But as I've been playing the RG550 Genesis more, and that has the dots and the pickguard and all that, I've come to really appreciate this. While I do look at the side dots more, the fretboard dots are simple and effective. They're not over the top or anything. They get the job done. And this is kind of like a dark version of those Genesis guitars. Of course, I'm not afraid of damaging it at this point. And there's lots of good memories with this guitar. I played some band practices with it. I went to my first recording studio and recorded something with it. And that's like an actual studio, not just a laptop or home computer. I've done some pickup swaps on this guitar. I'm pretty sure my first pickup comparison was with this, between the DiMarzios and the MG5766. But I'm not going to link that video because it isn't great. I even repaired the wiring of this guitar with my dad. Some wires had come loose because I kind of messed up the soldering job. I'd say this is one of those guitars then that I'll keep forever because of all these reasons. And it helps that it still plays pretty good. Not the absolute best, but still better than most guitars out there. Sounds pretty good, and it is pretty inspiring. I was able to come up with the arrangement for my Gravity Beetle cover back in the day with this guitar. So I'll probably be using it when I need the tone, the sounds that I can get from these pickups. Or if I'm inspired to write a song while playing this guitar, I'll at the very least write with this before switching to a different guitar for recording. But what are your thoughts? Is this a beast of a guitar that deserves more screen time? Should I reinstate the 5-way switch and put back the middle single coil? Comment down below. Of course, if you want to continue the discussion, come join the Discord. We have a lot of fun talking about guitars and stuff there. And this is YouTube, so I have to say the YouTube stuff. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, print out every frame and mail it. If you're looking for something cool to listen to, I'm on all streaming services like Spotify. I do some original songs and a lot of video game metal. And as always, peace.